I'm going to tell you a little bit about me. So, one of the first things you should probably know about me is that I absolutely love reading. One of my favorite series is Harry Potter. I was going through a really rough time a little while ago, and I read Harry Potter. I reread it, and before then, I was like a casual fan, but now I'm very, very, very much a whole heart and soul into the Harry Potter series, world, whatever you want to call it, because it absolutely changed my perspective on life. I never cease to be amazed. I never cease to be impacted by every single word J.K. Rowling writes. Every single word that she wrote in that book was there for a purpose. And as a writer and as a reader, that is an absolutely amazing thing. Because as you can probably tell, I ramble and stumble over my words. And I do that also in my writing because it's hard for me to get at what I'm really trying to say. So I admire J.K. Rowling very, very much for the power behind every single word, and how much she has affected me is able to be measured, how much J.K. Rowling has impacted me. I can't explain to you the magic without you guys just reading it for yourselves. Another thing about me, I grew up in this huge house in the middle of a forest. So I love nature. I spent almost every waking moment climbing trees and making food out of leaves and dirt and playing games where I would be little adventurers, because all I wanted to do as a kid was go on an adventure. Which, I mean, I haven't really changed in that aspect. That's the whole point of my vlog, is to have an adventure. So one of the most impactful things on my childhood was actually this movie, Treasure Planet, and it's because the main character goes on this like life-changing adventure, and he finally gets to be who he is. Or sometimes when you're older, you think, oh my god, I'm so different from when I was young. And I think that about myself, like I'm definitely a very different person because of I have different beliefs and I have different views and I have different likes and dislikes, but kind of my core is the same. I long for adventure, and I love learning, and I always want people to know exactly who I am, and for me to be able to express exactly who I am with whatever I do. Number 3, I am an artist in lots of ways. I love to draw, paint, sculpt, any type of like mixed media, hands-on art I love. I'm a writer. I'm kind of like a casual singer. I like doing it, but I'm not trained or anything, but I really enjoy it. And I'm an actress. Acting is just a way for me to absolutely live every single story. Like for an hour and a half of my life, I'm not Maggie anymore. I'm Jules, or I could be Harry Potter, or I'm Peter Pan, and for those minutes of my life, I get to experience something that I would never experience in regular life, and to me, that is beautiful. And I can do the same thing through art or writing, and for me, art is about living and finding every way possible to live. Something else about me is I love clothes. I love fashion. I kind of like every kind of style, and I just kind of piece them together in different ways. Like, a lot of people would think, like, oh, that doesn't match. But, I don't know, I like piecing them together. I like odd styles. And I feel like whatever I wear has to express what I'm feeling and what I'm thinking at the time. So, sometimes I change outfits during the day, depending on how my day goes. But style is a really big part of my life. This leads me into my 4th thing. I am very into fitness, health, and beauty. I love makeup. I think that everybody should wear as much makeup or as little makeup as they want, because makeup is a human-created thing, so therefore humans should take control and use it however they want. I'm really into fitness. I've been doing karate for 11 years, I think. Almost 11 years. And I've only recently gotten to the point where I can really, really focus on my body and how it moves. And just being able to analyze my body and understand what's going on inside is something that's really important to health and fitness. I do Blogalates, and some of you may follow the YouTuber Cassie Ho, who runs Blogalates. I really am inspired by her videos, and I've recently just started doing them so that I can get fit. I also eat a lot of really healthy foods, fruits, vegetables, definitely. I try to be a vegetarian, but I don't always accomplish that because, to be honest, I really like hamburgers, and every once in a while, maybe like once every like 2 months, I'll eat one just to make my soul a little bit happy. But I always feel a little bit bad because I know that that's something living. And just for me, I don't like eating things that were once alive. Whatever anybody believes in, whatever they believe for themselves is right for them. As long as it's not hurting anybody else or oppressing anybody else, then why is it my place to tell them that they're wrong? I kind of have the idea that Peter Pan and Albus Dumbledore have. Two very similar quotes. The one from Albus Dumbledore is, "To the well-organized mind, death is but the next great adventure." The Peter Pan quote is, "To die would be an awfully big adventure." I'm going to tell you about one of the happiest moments of my life. There was a point where I was sitting backstage and I was watching what was going on stage. And I was in the dark and all I could see forward was the stage. And I thought about my life. And I thought how I have all these different things that are so separate from each other that define who I am. Like my experiences with different friends, my karate life, my life where I'm by myself, my childhood, and I have all these different things that define me that don't connect kind of at all. And in that moment, I felt like my whole entire life just focused entirely in one spot. And I don't really know why it happened, but it was this eye-opening epiphany. And I just sat there and I thought about it. And I thought, and it's almost as if I was viewing my soul from the outside, and I could see everything in it. And I could see how they all mashed together and they all reflected to create me. And it was a moment that forever changed my life. So now I'm going to do the saddest moment of my life, not to bring anybody down, but just so people understand me more. The saddest moment in my life was when my grandfather died. I grew up with just my mom and my grandmother and my grandfather in this big in the big house in the woods. And I didn't have a father, and so my grandfather was my dad. I called him Papa. A couple years ago, in 2009, our whole family stood around his hospital bed when he died of melanoma cancer. I'm exceptionally grateful for being able to be with him when that happened, because I remember him looking me in the eye. And he told me that he loved me, and he held my hand. And watching him die was one of the hardest things that I think I've ever had to go through. It happened. That's the saddest moment of my life. So now to bring it back up, you guys now know a little bit about me, and it's a really good feeling to, like, put yourself out there. Like, Maggie is now in YouTube. I am in the internet. Woo! So it's really neat to do that, and it's kind of like cathartic almost and self-validating. So I hope that you guys liked the video and now you know a little bit more about me, and I'd love to know more about you. Comment. I'll subscribe to your channel. You subscribe to mine. Like my videos. Feel free to do whatever you want. I love you guys, and let's have an adventure.